so quickly. That's important. Give him credit. They moved. I would love to know when the first communication happened, whether it was to an agent, whether it was somebody from Stein's side saying, if you ever make a change, we'd love to be there. Whatever it is, they move quickly. And at times, Mitch has moved so slow, it's been like a snail. Give him all the credit in the world for getting this done. I think it's a great hire. I do. For every reason possible. And by the way, one of the things that Debbie Stein will tell us at 12:30 is that this whole thing with UK, they sent an email to UK. I'll let her tell the story, and it wasn't responded, and then it happened at Louisville. And so she says we have no sour grapes to Joker or to UK when that happened, that it was odd when he ended up at Louisville, and they are season ticket holders. They were season ticket holders, and they're so excited. I mean, I talked to her. I talked to Blakey, her sister. It's Sissy's Cakes. They're going to have a run on cakes like crazy. That's going to be one of the biggest, best businesses in Louisville for everything going on. They're going crazy. They have TV crews there. It's a beautiful day. I was guessing and hoping that William Stein will be introduced tonight at the game. I don't have anything official. I'm assuming that will happen. We will see. We're going to try Rich Brooks one more time, and if not, it'll go from there. Jimmy, if you can quietly try, and if not, we'll have to move on. I know Rich was happy to do the show, and I was excited to talk to him, but stranger things happen, as we all know. Bunch of notes. One, I don't know if Will Stein is going to call the plays. I don't know if Will Stein is going to bring a quarterback with him. All I know is that his last three quarterbacks have been spectacular. As I look at his resume, to me, it's fascinating. And I mean fascinating. The thing that impressed me the most isn't what he's done at Oregon, which is spectacular. Okay? I'm going to repeat. The thing that impresses me the most isn't what he's done in Oregon, even though that's spectacular. I mean, the numbers at Oregon are unbelievable. They really are. But you can get athletes at Oregon you don't get at many places. But what he's doing with them is spectacular. You know what impresses me even more? And he gets an A+ at Oregon. So if you think there's a hidden message in here, no. What he did at USTA. Now think about it. He's been kind of watched over. Somebody's guided him this whole route. It's really beautiful. He's at Louisville, becomes a GA, goes to Texas because of Craig Thorpe and his connections, and he helps out in the background. It's great. Then he goes to a high school so he can call plays, and he does it for 2 years. And what's really cool is that in the high school job he had, it also is listed that he's the recruiting coordinator. Fascinating. I mean, just absolutely fascinating. And then he goes to USTA. That's a huge jump from high school. But USTA is not the Southeastern Conference. It's not the Pac-10, 12, or whatever. It doesn't make a difference. It's not the Mountain West. It's USTA. And boom, they're unbelievable offensively. I'm serious. That impresses me even more than Oregon. Now, here's the other thing. You go from USTA, boom, to Oregon. That's a huge jump. It really is. Look, Kentucky has not had a 3,000-yard passer, Heartline, since 2010. Stein has had two 4,000-yard passers in the last 4 years. And the last 3 years at Oregon, Ducks have finished in the top 5 in points per drive. Ninth in scoring offense, 38.2. You look at his resume, it's crazy good. It's crazy good. It's ridiculous. This is a great hire. It really is. And this is a hire that has the chance to stand the test of time. Todd McShay on Twitter. Respect Todd tremendously with his knowledge of college players and what he does for the draft. That would be an absolute coup for Kentucky. Nicole Auerbach. wonderful syndicated national columnist. Kentucky getting Oregon as their offensive coordinator is a huge coup. He's a stud. Jimmy, should we do this? We can't call Rich while we're in there. Should we take a quick 30-second break and then try to get to him? Is that the prudent thing to do?
Yeah, likely.
Okay, let's do it. Let's take a quick break, and let's try to get Rich Brooks, who agreed to do the show. It's a phone situation. Alan Cutler, 1300 AM, 92.5 FM.
No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler, brought to you by Quantrell Auto Group. Quantrell for life.
The Outback is special, so check this out. 0%. That's right, 0% interest for 36 months. And if you want to spread it out to 72 months, 1.9%. What a deal. 0% interest for 36 months. Don't forget, the Quattro family of dealerships is the right place to get your next Subaru, and they promise you the best in sales, service, and no gimmicks.
Back to No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler. Podcasts on Apple, Spotify, and Google, Monday through Friday.
I apologize for the technical difficulties. On the line now, a man I have a ton of respect, and his picture's getting everywhere. The picture with Rich Brooks and William Stein. Rich, how are you? Thanks for joining me for a couple minutes. I appreciate it. And again, sorry for the technical problem.
Yeah, well, I'm not a high-tech guy. You know me, Alan. But I at least didn't pull a hamstring trying to run to the front of the group.
Not going to let me forget that.
No, I'm not going to let you forget.
The sad news is, Rich, to be honest, I think it's a really bad horse race to see which one of us is worse, technically speaking, and I do this, so I think that makes me worse. But tell us what you think about Stein and the future Kentucky. As you love this place as much as anybody who ever played for you.
Well, I think Will has done a really good job at Oregon. I think the picture that's circulating was the first time I really had met him, and that was at Ducks in the Desert, where I am getting ready to go out and play a round of golf right now. But he really has, I think, come into his own as a coordinator, recruiter, and play caller. He's done an outstanding job at Oregon with their offense. They're nationally rated in rushing and passing, and I think obviously he knows what he's doing.
Interesting that you get this opportunity at the tender age of 36.
Well, that's when I got the Oregon job. I was 36. Dan Lanning got the job at 36 and 9 months. I was 36 and 3 months. So I'm the youngest head coach ever hired at Oregon. Dan Lanning's the second youngest. And I don't know where Will Stein falls at Kentucky, but he's young. And he's got a lot of energy.
Which is a beautiful thing. If you had any fatherly advice for him, what would that be that you could share with us on the air? And if it's something you would say off the air and you don't want to say it, all good, Rich. You know that.
Well, I would say that he needs to get the NIL money where it should be at Kentucky for football. That's the number one priority, I think.
Can it happen here?
Well, yes, Mark Stoops proved it could happen. He did before the NIL thing took over college football. He was right there knocking at the door, a couple of 10-win seasons, major bowl wins. And let's not forget what Mark Stoops did with that program. He built it up and was extremely competitive in the SEC. And then NIL kind of changed the footprint, if you will, and Kentucky football has to keep pace with that.
Well, I hope they can. It makes it more fun. I know you have a round of golf, and I hope I didn't disturb your golf game again. One, I apologize for the technical difficulties. Two, it's really good to hear your voice. And three, you're a Hall of Famer in every sense of the word, both as a coach and as a person, as far as I'm concerned. So, Rich, thank you so much.
Well, Alan, thank you, and continue doing what you're doing. You're really good at it.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Okay,
Rich,
talk to you later.
That means a lot.
You take care.
Thank you, sir. Rich Brooks. I think Rich just humbled me. Is that possible?
I think if there's anyone to do it, he could do it.
My respect for Rich, not just because of what he just said, is absolutely off the charts. Off the charts. Okay, let's do this. We're going to put in Lizzie, and then we're going to talk to Lizzie, and then we're going to take a break, and then we're going to talk to Debbie Stein, William's mother, then Jonathan Davis, then Gene Abel, then Doug Barnes. Jimmy, is Lizzie ready? Thumbs up. Lizzie Carr, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Do you mind if I shock you in a positive way for a second?
No, go ahead.
Okay. No, it's all good. I promise it's all good.
Okay.
So one of my dearest friends in the world, you ate Thanksgiving dinner with the other night. Dick Hoop's wife. Yeah.
He's a very, very, very good family friend of ours. He grew up down the street from us, and his wife babysat us as kids. So,
it's interesting when your brother, when the rumor, we talk all the time. I mean, all the time. When the rumor was when your brother might be coming to Kentucky. I mean, the first time he heard a rumor, he called me up and says, Alan, you're going to love this guy. He's such a great young man. What a great family. And oh, by the way, he can really play. So he's been bragging about you guys forever. And his praise for you and your family and your mom and dad is absolutely off the charts. It's so that you guys had Thanksgiving dinner. That's really cool.
Yes, it was awesome.
So tell me about this dream season. I'm watching you guys. Sorry, I don't mean guys the wrong way. It's just I'm not trying to be sexist. I apologize. And you're down 2-0, and I don't quit on it. And then you're down 23-19, and the match is almost over. And I got to tell you, I don't know what's the greatest comeback in the history of sports for Kentucky. I really don't know, although I've been here for 1,000 years. But it has to be in the top 3 or 4 or maybe 1, whatever. And to keep your cool and to come back against another great team, you guys are great. Texas is great. When you're on that level, I respect Texas tremendously. I know you do too. But to come back down 23-19 and ended up winning 3-2 is just unbelievable. How do you keep your cool in those moments?
I just think we talk a lot about, when pressure comes, the way we outlast the pressure is just by doing the little things well and being really good with our fundamentals and just kind of like taking it all back to basics. But, in that moment, we were all just talking a lot about how like we won't let them. I think actually there's a clip going around right now of Eva like saying in a huddle, like they will not outlast us, like we will not let them outlast us. And that's just like something that we really pride ourselves in and something that we've talked a lot about this year. It's just kind of been like something that's a little bit of our identity. And so just like being able to remind ourselves of that in that moment and make sure that, that was at the forefront of our mind when we were going back onto the court. And obviously like our backs were up against the wall and it was do or die right there to be able to, extend the match. And so I don't know, we were just really really confident in ourselves and confident in all the little things we do each day to prepare ourselves for moments like that.
So Chris Scholes, who does an unbelievable job in sports information for UK Volleyball, put this out. We were texting up and back, and I asked him basically to describe you. Quote, great teammate, takes her leadership role on this team very seriously, dash, even as a newcomer. It's a wonderful compliment.
Thank you. Yeah, I just think we have a lot of people on this team who are leaders. Like all 14 of us are leaders in our own way, and I think that it's really cool to be on a team like that because being able to be someone who, you know, is newer to a program and I'm not afraid to like say something or step up in those moments, and I think that that's something that's really just been engraved in our head by like Craig and our staff, and then also just like our own team. Like everyone's gonna have their moment to be a leader and to step up, and so whenever that is, like each person, no matter who you are, like you have the opportunity to do that. And so I just think that everyone around me has really made me feel comfortable to be able to do that.
Okay, growing up, where did you get these traits? It's beautiful. It's lovely. You come from a competitive family. Where did this leadership, where you're so comfortable in your own skin to share your thoughts with confidence to your teammates, where'd you get this?
I don't know. Maybe just being the only girl. I feel like I kind of had to fight for myself in my house growing up. The boys all teamed up on me, and it was kind of just me for myself. So maybe a little bit of that, but my parents do a really good job of, you know, they were both college athletes as well, and so being able to just make sure we know that, I don't know, like we are strong within ourselves and that like we are comfortable in our own skin. And I think that um, as silly as it sounds, like being someone who's really tall also like kind of helps with that because it's just like there's like a different confidence that has to come with that too of like being comfortable in your own skin in that type of a way. So I think that um just like the people around me have just really helped me get to that point, and I just like use it in a lot of aspects of my life.
Scale of 1 to 10, how much fun you having right now?
Oh, 15, 100, over 10.
Is this better than you thought it would be when you decided to transfer here?
Yeah, it is. It's I just can't even begin to describe how grateful I am to be here and just all of the things we get to do and have gotten to do so far, and just what we're looking to do here in the next 3 weeks too. It's all just so amazing, and I'm so happy that I get to be a part of it.
This might sound silly, but how do you describe pressure?
Hmm. Exciting. I don't know. I think I love pressure. Like pressure just I think a lot of people on our team do as well. It's just something that like kind of fuels us, and it makes us just like play even harder and more excited and with more joy. And I think that that's something that's really unique for our team this year.
I think that's unique for most athletes. Seriously.
Yeah.
So I have a theory about energy, and I wish I could tell you I was smart enough to figure this out myself. I was not. Your parents will know the name. If you do, I'm gonna bow. I'll be so shocked. There was a great comedian named George Burns, and in his 90s, he used to smoke 10, 12 cigars a day in his 90s. And he was with Johnny Carson. This is way before your time. And he says, you're smoking cigars. What does your doctor tell you? He says, my doctor's dead. So he was a stand-up comedian in his late 90s until he passed. And Carson asked him one time, he said, do you ever get nervous? And he said, the day I don't get nervous is the day I won't do stand-up anymore. And so what he then said was, nervous is just negative energy. So when you have the energy and you internalize it and it's positive, you use it for fuel. That's a long-winded answer, but I don't think a lot of people get that. You do, and your team does, and it's probably about as good of a compliment as I could give a team.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with that more. It's just something that we really use to our advantage. We obviously you're playing on a big stage, big games, like you're gonna be a little nervous, but you have to be able to find the positives in it and use it as a positive energy type of a situation, like you were just saying, versus letting it you know, hinder you. So
By the way, you were great in the SEC tournament. And Chris said that, and others have said that. So kudos to you. And the other thing, do you think I'm going to end a conversation with you without asking you to give me some dirt on your brother?
I don't have any. There's none.
Nothing?
He's
I'm
out.
not.
He's out
I'm not surprised. You know,
he's out in Portland hanging out, but I don't know. I don't really have any. I don't know. I don't
that's
really have any
okay. I
problems.
wasn't expecting for you to say anything. Thought maybe you'd tell me a funny, goofy story, that kind of thing. That's where I'm coming from. There was somebody did the story, and I don't remember who, when you came here and you guys got to spend more time with each other. And it was, now I'm being serious now. I was goofing before. It was a lovely brother-sister story that absolutely warmed my heart. How close you guys both are and how close your family is. I think it's absolutely wonderful.
Thank you. Yeah, it was really special to be able to have some time with him here. Just, that's time you don't expect to have since he is 2 years older than me. Like we weren't really expecting, unless he got that, since he got the 5th year, we were able to be in college together, but didn't really expect that. And at that point, who knew if we were gonna ever live in the same house again, just because of not moving back home and all of that type of stuff. So it was really cool to be able to have some good time in the same place again that we didn't necessarily know was going to come. So
Yeah. So therefore, when you don't know if it's going to come, you cherish it, especially when you guys are so close.
yeah, exactly.
Anything else about the volleyball team you can share as you get ready for round 1 Thursday? And I hope every ticket is sold, and I hope the crowd is crazy. And Memorial Coliseum, they've done just a beautiful job putting that together. It's a spectacular venue, and I bet it's really loud. Anything else you want to share about the volleyball team or whatever comes to your cranium?
No, just that we have an exciting time coming up here, and that we can't wait to have BBN with us and behind us and fill in Memorial every time they get the chance to.
Well, let's put it this way. I wish you all luck in the world. I hope you win a national championship. Your attitude is absolutely unequivocally spectacular, and I'm not sure that's a good enough word. Whatever higher than spectacular it is, you have a great smile. Thanks for giving us a couple minutes. Rooting like crazy for you. Godspeed and good luck.
Thank you so much.
Lizzie Carr, Jimmy, is she a wonderful young lady? Is she a wonderful young lady? By the way, Chris, I know that's not Chris I'm looking at.
Yeah, Chris had to run somewhere, so I'm filling in for him for the time being.
Who are you? Please tell me.
I'm Lily. I'm serving as his secondary for this volleyball season. So,
Okay, well, Lily, thank you.
of course, thank you guys.
And tell Chris I said thank you. I know Chris is only doing 40 things at once, so
Yeah, busy time of year, but of course, anytime, guys.
appreciate you a lot. And Lizzie was as great as I expected her. Wasn't that crazy? One of my dearest friends ate Thanksgiving dinner with the Carr family the other day.
Yeah, that is a crazy story, but no, she's a wonderful human being. So glad she got to talk to you guys.
And I don't know if you know Dick Hoops Weiss. In the last 50 years, there are not 5 better columnists
Yeah.
in the country as Hoops. I don't know if you've got to meet him, and he loves the family. So anyway, tell Chris thank you. Lizzie was great, and good luck to you all in the NCAA tournament.
I will. Thank you guys. Have a good rest of your day.
You too. I knew that wasn't Chris. Is that nuts? My buddy Hoops?
That's like the chances of that happening, and also the vote of confidence. If there's anyone that you believe, like if Dick Hoops Weiss give you the thumbs up of approval, that's as good as it gets.
Hoops and I talk all the time, but there are certain things when you're really good friends with somebody, Jimmy, as you know, there's a different tone of voice at times, right? And whatever day it was, I don't remember. There was a rumor that he might be coming here. He was on the phone with me, bouncing off the walls. You're gonna love this kid. He's great. Da, 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 da. So all good. What a beautiful young lady. What an attitude. And her description of pressure was about as good as it gets. Okay, coming up. Debbie Stein, William's mother, will be joining us. Then Jonathan Davis, then Gene Abel, then Doug Barnes. Thank you to Rich Brooks. Appreciate it tremendously. And also thank you to Lizzie Carr. If you weren't rooting for the volleyball team, and I think so many of you are now, are you rooting for them even more after hearing Lizzie? I think so. And I think so. It'd be a good idea. Bad grammar, but the point is you would love the XC60. We do. My wife loves it. Volvo, a hybrid. 41 miles before it gets to gas, and it's beautiful. And we're saving money on the hybrid. We are. I figured it out, and it's interesting. It's like a couple payments a year, the way Judy drives the car. She loves it, loves it, loves it, loves it. And what we have been fortunate, I kind of think I was fortunate to find the Quantrill Auto Group. And by the way, that was thanks to Judy years ago. So we've now had 3 cars from Quantrill. It's about 12, 13 years. I trust them. I like them. They're really a great people organization. So whether it's the XC60 or the 0.00000% interest on the brand new Outback, the Subaru, check them out. 0% interest for 36 months. For 72, it's 1.9%. So don't forget, the Quantrill family of dealerships is the right place to get your next Cadillac, your next Subaru, your next Volvo, and they promise to get you the best in sales, service, and no gimmicks. Debbie Stein coming up next. Alan Cutler, 1300 AM, 92.5 FM.
No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler, brought to you by Quantrill Auto Group. QuantrellForLife.com.
Sis, I'm getting ready to be on the radio, so I'm back here, okay?
Attack. My personal banker, Mary Rose, and I networked together. And the first thing that I thought of was I have to text her. And it was just within the next few minutes, there was an entire team that came together collectively. And that's just not the type of service that you typically get from your bank.
That's Kathy's story. Now let's get to work on yours. Republic Bank. Time to thrive. Member FDIC.
Ho, ho, ho.
What are you doing, Uncle Rick?
I'm looking at these twinkle lots, 250 strands of lots, 100 individual balls per strand, for a grand total of 25,000 twinkle lots.
Well, it looks like you're not quite ready for the holidays yet. Here at Clutch Pep and Shop, we are. We have 5-hour energy shots, buy 2, get 1 free, and Mike and Ike or Hot Tamales theater box candy, 2 for $2.
Maybe I should wrap up my lots so I can get over to Clark's Pep and Shop.
Uncle Rick, the little lights aren't blinking.
I know, Carl. I know.
Happy holidays from the Clark family.
Hi, this is Alan Cutler. Have a no filter comment? Hit the text line 859-381-1313. 859-381-1313.
Back to No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler. Yes, on Apple, Spotify, and Google, Monday through Friday.
Welcome back. Alan Cutler, 1300 AM, 92.5 FM. Want to thank Rich Brooks, who was great talking about William Stein, and then Lizzie. Oh my gosh, Lizzie Carr, a great young lady whose description of pressure and this volleyball team, which is unbelievable, is just absolutely off the charts. I mean, what a great young lady. And now, this is not about me, but I can't believe she remembered me from about 50 years ago. I shouldn't say that because, Debbie, I've just aged you too. It's all about aging me, not you. I apologize. What a way to introduce you. That's okay, because her feet are not on the ground. They can't be. It's probably 10 feet off the air. Debbie Stein of Sissy's Cakes in Louisville, who's going bonkers because her son is a new football coach at Kentucky. Plus, her shop is going crazy. Whatever they do for normal orders, you better start getting ready for at least 3 times the orders all the time. It's kind enough to join us. So, Debbie, I'm not very smart, but if I would have told you 30 years ago that your son was going to be the head coach at the University of Kentucky, what would you have told me?
Hi, Alan. Thank you so much for having me on. Well, I probably would have said that wouldn't surprise me. I knew that he would be in football in some big way. So he's really been about football since he was 4 years old. So it really is just something surreal, and that we're just so absolutely thrilled and excited and proud. And all the things, all the feels.
And as a grandma, having your grandkids closer, that's like a double 10.
Oh yeah, that's really tops the list of all. Yeah, Joey and Demi, they're 3 and 1. To be 70 miles away from Dee Dee and all the whole family, it's a dream come true.
So when you knew this was going to happen, did you have an instant reaction? Did you black out? Were you screaming and yelling? Were you hugging any person that was around you? I mean, tell us your experience when you knew it was a possibility. And oh my gosh, it's probably going to happen. Oh, I think it's going to happen. Now it happens.
Right.
So what was your reaction?
Okay, I can't even hardly remember. Today is Tuesday, right? Yeah.
Okay.
Today's Tuesday.
Yes.
Okay, so I mean, that's how kind of muddled my brain is right now. So I guess when I started hearing that Coach Stoops was on the hot seat and that possibly, he was going to be let go, I don't know, it came back in my head because thinking, okay, with all this big coaching carousel going on and all the different changes, and then I did get on Twitter and saw all of the buzz. I thought, oh my gosh, okay. And I guess that was Sunday and Monday. And then William called me yesterday. It was about 11:30 a.m. I was here at Sissy Cakes. And I went back in our little storeroom just because I knew that it would need to be a private conversation. And then he said, Mom, I'm going to be a Wildcat. And my legs buckled. And I was just trying to hold it in. Of course, my sister ran back, his aunt. So she knew. I said, okay, we can't say anything. So, nothing had been signed at that point. But it's been a whirlwind and we just couldn't be more excited.
The fact that you're going to be there to see him introduced, I'm assuming he'll be introduced tonight at the North Carolina game and get a raucous, loud, vivacious standing ovation. I'll give you 50-1, and I mean this with kindness because I'm a crier, by the way, and I'm not ashamed to say I cry. I'll give you 50-1. There'll be tears of joy coming down.
Yes. All the times that we sat in Rupp Arena watching basketball games, William went to Tubby Smith's basketball camp, won the free throw contest, as a matter of fact. Just all of our ties with Kentucky, and we do bleed blue. Love the school. I went to school there. His dad went to school there. I mean, it's just it will be surreal when he is announced. Yes, it will be. I just won't even be able to hold back tears. You're right. It'll be emotional for sure.
Enjoy every second. So you wanted to clear something up about how it didn't work out, that William ended up at Louisville versus Kentucky, and the way it worked out was great for him anyway. But you wanted to explain that.
So when William came out of Trinity, he did very well there as a quarterback, was a 3-time state champion, and then led the team his senior year to a state championship. He's only 5'10". He always says 5'10" in cleats. So, a smaller quarterback. And, he wasn't really getting the offers. He really aspired to be in the NFL. On his goal list as a kid, he definitely wanted to be in the NFL. And he thought, okay, I'm not getting the offers, but we'll go look around at a lot of schools that had reached out to him. And when I asked him, I can't remember which school it was, when I said, okay, what do you think? He goes, okay, go big or go home. I said, okay. So I knew what that meant. He wanted to, look into the University of Kentucky. So his dad played football there and was a teammate of Joker's, and reached out via email. I can't remember if it was just, we were got impatient. Maybe just, it was one day we didn't hear anything back, and it's like, okay, let's just contact U of L. But it was nothing, there was zero hard feelings. Just an email wasn't answered. Maybe it went to spam, who knows. But we've had connections with University of Louisville because of Coach Satterfield. Not Satterfield. Oh my gosh. I'm so sorry. Coach Cragthorpe.
Okay.
Coach Cragthorpe. His son played at Trinity with William. So Coach Cragthorpe, William knew him, and then of course the Brahms. And so his dad reached out to U of L, and the Brahms said, absolutely, come on, let's talk. So he went in as a preferred walk-on. So as a preferred walk-on, you get to, come in with the team for fall camp. You eat with the team. You do everything with the team. It's the same, except we had to pay the tuition. So came in as a preferred walk-on. And of course, everything happened the way it was supposed to happen. He ended up being a starting quarterback there. He had to talk to the press a lot. So, he's very natural in front of the press because he's been doing it since really his freshman year. He became on scholarship. So that was such an honor to be placed on scholarship. And then, of course, met Coach Strong. Coach Strong came in, and then he went with Coach Strong to Texas. So, everything lined up absolutely perfectly how it was supposed to line up. But, from day one, we've always bled blue. But, of course, we were very grateful to the University of Louisville and all that they did for him.
One of the things that to me is amazing that because of his connections, he gets to Texas, he's in the background helping out. And then someone gave him great advice. I actually think it's brilliant that he took a step back to high school so he could call plays, because that's important. And then to make the jump from that to USTA is humongous. And
Yes.
as great as William has been at Oregon, and he's been great, I'm actually, and I hope you take this the right way, I'm actually more impressed what he did at USTA, because you don't have Oregon athletes. You're coming into that kind of situation, and boom, they're nationally all of a sudden. I'm not negating what he did at Oregon. What he's done at Oregon is spectacular. But what he did at USTA, and I kept on looking at stuff going, I knew he did a good job at USTA, but honestly, until 2 days ago, I didn't really look at it, just to be honest.
Yeah.
And I started doing some digging and going, this is ridiculous. And to make the jump from USTA to Oregon is humongous. It's humongous. And so the faith in your son at I don't mean this the wrong way, at a tender age to go from USTA to Oregon it's just crazy. Yeah.
It is amazing. And it's all about, his system. He has a great offensive plan. He's really brilliant. He's a brilliant offensive coach. I just have to, I know I'm his mom, but I truly believe that, because the proof's in the pudding. You're right. Looking at the numbers, looking at all of his stats, the culture that he builds, his system, feed the studs. It's real. And you're right. He did it at UTSA, and he will bring it to Kentucky, no doubt.
Well, I know you got to go. I appreciate your time. Maybe at the start of the season, if it's okay, if you have 2 seconds to breathe, because I think you're going to be selling so many cakes, it's off the charts. You would visit with us again. I'm
sure
happy for you and your family. This is goofy, literally, to have a Kentucky boy who always wanted to be here, and the football team, and Mark Pope, captain of a national championship team, to be here. I mean, these are some of the things you couldn't have predicted in a million years, and it's absolutely wonderful. Anything else you want to say about your son you want to add before I say a huge thank you and mazel tov?
He couldn't be more excited. He will embrace Big Blue Nation. I know he will work his tail off and put out a really great product on that field. And I tell you what, this is a funny story. When he called me, we talked in the morning yesterday, and then he FaceTimed later in the afternoon with the kids. And he said to me, this is really funny. He said, "Oh my gosh, I forgot. What's that burger place that we always would go to?" I said, "Tally Ho." He's like, "Yes, I'm so excited to have a Ho burger." So I know he'll be looking forward to the Tally Ho and the chocolate shake and the hash brown potatoes. So Tally Ho, get ready, Coach Stein. I know we'll come in there.
None of that. You just helped their business tremendously. Give a great plug to your business, please.
Yes, Sissy Cakes. We are located in Louisville in St. Matthews, right across from Trinity High School, where Coach Stein and his brothers went to school, and we bake an unbelievable cake called our orange juice cake. Every one of our cakes has a hot boiling glaze on them. They are delectable and super moist. And we've been baking this cake for 30 years, and it's truly baked with love, and we are just so excited to be able to share it with all of Big Blue Nation. So we had to shut our website down for a little while. It was literally exploding. So we do have cakes in our shop, and if you're in the Louisville area and you want to stop by, please come see us.
Wonderful. Bless you. Enjoy every moment. This is as beautiful as it gets for you and your family, and I think it's going to be just as beautiful for the Kentucky football team. Thank you so much, Debbie. Bless you, and don't allow your feet to touch the ground for as long as you can.
No, I'm so excited. Thank you so much, Alan, and I really appreciate you having me on your show.
Thanks, Debbie. Have a great day. Bless you.
Okay,
Bye.
thank you. Bye-bye.
Jimmy, that gave me chills.
That's pretty awesome. I mean, you can just hear the giddiness in her voice, just about how excited she is, let alone the coaching side. Just to me, what got me is the two grandkids that are moving closer, like just the family part of it. That's just the cool part.
Yeah. Doesn't she sound like a great grandma too?
Oh yeah. Those kids are not going to be spoiled at all while they're here.
Unbelievable. So she found out 11:30 yesterday morning. Interesting. And you know, I'm rarely surprised by an answer. And so when I asked her if I would have said, 30 years ago that your son would be the head coach of Kentucky, Jimmy, I thought she was going to say something like, "Oh, what are you, crazy? I don't know if he could dream that good." Da, 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 da. And what did she say? She says, "I'm not surprised." Wow. That was beautiful. Jimmy, we're going to take a clip from it. We might have to replay the whole interview later this week. Conversation. It's only about 10 minutes. I think it's worth replaying, don't you?
Oh, yeah.
I think we need to. Well, we have to find the time. So from Rich Brooks, who was wonderful, to Lizzie Carr, who was wonderful, to Debbie Stein, who was wonderful, and in the hopper is Jonathan Davis. You better be wonderful. He always is. He's probably laughing at me right now. Then Gene Abel, then Doug Barnes talking about, can you believe it? If you would have told me that so little conversation would happen between Kentucky and North Carolina playing basketball, I would say it's not possible. Well, it's happened. Jonathan Davis coming up next. Don't forget about my friend Terry Page, a great licensed massage therapist. Many of you have trusted me and gone to see her. Please, when you call, please use my name. It helps Terry. It helps me. Helps the show. 859-373-0578. 859-373-0578. Terry Page, Alan Cutler, 1300 AM, 92.5 FM.
No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler, brought to you by Quantrell Auto Group. QuantrellForLife.com.
Hi, this is Alan Cutler. Have a no filter comment? Hit the text line 859-381-1313. 859-381-1313.
Houchins Insurance Group is proud to partner with Auto Owners Insurance, a company that provides opportunity for independent agents to make insurance simple for their clients, offering risk management services that range from a renter's policy for your college student to home and auto coverage for your entire family. Houchins Insurance Group assures you that nobody works harder to keep you protected from life's uncertainties. Reach out to AJ Boss or Zach Bennett at 859-263-2771 to see if Auto Owners Insurance makes sense for you.
Hi, this is Alan Cutler. The Quantrell Auto Group has a great deal for this month. Subaru. The Outback is special, so check this out. 0%. That's right, 0% interest for 36 months. And if you want to spread it out to 72 months, 1.9%. What a deal. 0% interest for 36 months. Don't forget, the Quantrell family of dealerships is the right place to get your next Subaru, and they promise you the best in sales, service, and no gimmicks.
I'm Kathy Bingaman. Over the holiday, there was an attempted fraud attack. My personal banker, Mary Rose, and I networked together. And the first thing that I thought of was I have to text her. And it was just within the next few minutes, there was an entire team that came together collectively. And that's just not the type of service that you typically get from your bank.
That's Kathy's story. Now let's get to work on yours. Republic Bank. Time to thrive. Member FDIC.
Ho, ho, ho.
What are you doing, Uncle Rick?
I'm looking at these twinkle lots, 250 strands of lots, 100 individual balls per strand, for a grand total of 25,000 twinkle lots.
Well, it looks like you're not quite ready for the holidays yet. Here at Clark's Pop and Shop, we are. We have 5-hour energy shots, buy two, get one free, and Mike and Ike or Hot Tamales Theater Box Candy, 2 for $2.
Maybe I should wrap up my lots so I can get over to Clark's Pop and Shop.
Uncle Rick, the little lights aren't blinking.
I know, Carl. I know.
Happy holidays from the Clark family.
Back to No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler. Podcasts on Apple, Spotify, and Google, Monday through Friday.
Jonathan Davis, kind enough to join us and kind enough to let me juggle schedules as it's been a little nuts. Again, thank you to Rich Brooks, who was great. Thank you to Lizzie Carr. Oh, she's wonderful. And what an attitude about life and handling pressure. It's as good as it gets. And Debbie Stein, when I asked an obvious question, if I would have told you 30 years ago that your son was going to be the football coach of Kentucky, she said, I believe it. What an answer. And now, smart guy Jonathan Davis, kind of to join. New glasses? They new glasses?
Yes.
I like them.
Thank you, sir.
Maybe I need to get something like this. They make you scholarly. You think they'd make me scholarly? Probably not.
It's not going to help you. It's not going to help. You have the face for radio, Alan. I mean, we've already talked about this.
And you think you were the first to tell me that I have a face for radio? You think you were the second? You think you're the 100th?
Good to see you, man.
Yeah, you too. But the sad news is you're right. Yeah, we're going to talk basketball, obviously, but you're not only super smart, but you're super ingrained in the community. And just your take on everything that's happened with Stoops and William Stein. And I don't know if you've heard his mother and stuff like that. Your reaction to all this before we get on to that little game.
My first reaction is, as the son of a coach, my heart goes out to the staff, their families. Whenever a head coach gets fired, a lot of dominoes fall. And they're going to be kids uprooted. They're going to be, families displaced, trying to figure out what's our next move. So first of all, my heart goes out to them. But most importantly, though, going back to the move itself, it ran its course. I think the state of modern sports now is that it's going to be rare you find a guy that stays at a place, 25, 30 years, like back in the olden days. I think those days have passed. There's so much money that changes hands in a short period of time that it's going to be difficult for a coach to keep his seat for, more than 10 years going forward. So they all become hired guns. You get a job, you almost go in thinking about your exit. You already planned a divorce, before you even leave. So that's just nature of sports now. It's what it is.
Breaking
news.
news.
You did a good job.
I'm sorry for stepping on you. I thought you were done. My bad. Breaking news. No surprise here. Brad White will be the new defensive coordinator to a young man he's very close to, John Summerall. So he's going to Florida. I think that was probably the easiest prediction in the world. Brad White is a class act. I thought he did a hell of a job here, and I wish him nothing but the best. One more really quick. Jacob Polachek of KSR, he broke the story that Matt Ponatowski, the quarterback baseball player, great at both, who had committed to Stoops, says he's signing with Kentucky. So, Jacob, good job with that. Wanted to get some news out there. Basketball. I have no clue if they're going to win tonight.
I don't
Which
either.
is okay. Oh, you don't either. Okay.
No.
And I expect them to be better. And I know, because we have sound bites I don't know if we're going to get to today. Look, these kids aren't stupid. They're smart kids. You know that, Jonathan. They know that they have failed beating real teams. No disrespect to the teams that they have beaten. They know that. It bothers them. It's a challenge. They're embracing it. They're looking forward. They're looking forward to playing tonight. Question to you is two-part, and I will zip my mouth. One, well, probably not. One, does that add more pressure? And two, do you think they're ready?
Wow, that is two tough questions, and they both have nothing to do with each other at all. Regarding pressure, anytime you decide to play at a school like Kentucky, there's going to be a measure of pressure that's going to be higher than if you'd sign with another school. There are only 3 or 4 schools that are like ours in respect of Every time you put on that blue uniform, you become somebody different, or people look at you as somebody different. So pressure-wise, I don't think it actually adds more pressure. I think it's just all part of the deal. I mean, when teams come here to play us, even teams that quote unquote have a name, it's their dream to play at Kentucky, to play at Rupp and then beat Kentucky here. It's everybody's game of the year. So from that perspective, no. I do want to give some hope though. I've gone back and I've reviewed some games, looked at some game film, and both of the games where the final score was not good. Both of those games, there was a path to victory in the second half. We made some steps towards it, but did not complete the mission both times. So that's actually encouraging to the respect of, we got way behind, shot the ball poorly, missed defensive assignments, looked like we were lost. But in both games in the second half, we made a move. That's encouraging. So the key really is going to be to not lose contact. Think of it almost like a long distance race where maybe a guy's very fast. You want to get around his heels and just stay with them. You don't have to be ahead halfway through the race. You have to be in contact halfway through the race. And that's something that we've done. We've just lost contact and got too far behind, to where that uphill climb down the stretch became insurmountable. But there's hope there in that our kids did respond both times. Just didn't complete the mission.
I'm going to say this with respect. Ortega says that they're more physical in practice, but they haven't been physical in games. And I kind of think that they're feeling some pressure. And by the way, I'm not knocking these kids. And I think they're going to work through it. I really do, because I think they really want to. It's like getting over the hump. Ortega admits that at times they're getting pushed around too much. And it's nice for him to admit because everybody can see it. But when you admit it, that's the first step to fixing it. I don't think these kids are soft. I really don't. But that doesn't mean they're as tough as Michigan State. That also doesn't mean they can't be tough. They can't be tough enough. That doesn't mean they can't be tough enough. I want to make sure that's understood properly to beat Michigan State if they play them the next time. You don't have to be tougher than Michigan State, but you got to have a lot more toughness. And I think it's within them. Do you believe because they know they haven't been tough enough, that's the first step to changing it? And, this team last year wasn't tough enough. Ohio State beat the crap out of them, and they got much tougher, to which everybody credited them. And I don't see why not it can't get tougher starting tonight. Yes?
I agree. I think all the tools and abilities to, like I said, as a path to victory, it's all there. Now it's a matter of them forgetting to play and go play basketball. There have been many times when I've locked in on individual kids. I'm looking at their faces, looking at their body languages, looking at how they're performing on the court. You can almost see the little wheels turning. Okay, we got to run this play, throw the ball to this guy, and go set a pick for that guy, and then I cut to the basket. They're robotic, and they're doing things reflexively because they're trying to think about the play. You can't think about the play when you're running the play. You got to go out there and just play basketball. And there have been times where we've gone long stretches where we weren't playing basketball. We're trying to run a play, or we're being robotic, and we're throwing what I call balloon passes. That soft pass where you're thinking about, okay, I got to pass the ball to the right, but I'm going to run to the left. So the pass, you're already going left, and you throw a weak pass to the right. The defensive guy runs through the ball. He's getting layup. I mean, how many passes did we throw, balloon passes, where a guy just was lazy with his pass instead of just snapping through, making a crisp pass first, and then seeing what the defense gives you instead of trying to think about 3 moves ahead in the play? That's been hurting us, I think. Kids are thinking about it too much on the court. If they get out of their own heads, get out of their own way, we're going to be okay.
Okay, so I'm going to go from calling you a smart guy, which you are, to a genius. Would you like to know why?
Sure.
Okay, I don't know if we're going to have time to play the soundbite, but that's what Chandler said. That's why he's shooting well, because he's relaxed and he's just playing.
Yeah.
He's not thinking about bad. He's not thinking about good. He's just thinking, is it a shot? I'm just doing it. So it's not exactly word for word what you said and he said, but you guys are like kissing cousins.
I've been there, man. I know what it's like. Like I said, when you're on the court, you think about, what am I doing 3 moves from now? Like I said, you throw the ball to the left. I go set a pick on the right. I dive to the basket. Then I back cut. You got all these things you need to be doing, but you have to do them unconsciously. You can't be thinking about it while you're playing, because if you do that, especially on your passes will be weak because you're already thinking about your next move before the ball leaves your hand. When you pass that basketball, your first move is, what is the defense doing? That predicates what you should do next, not the 3 things the coach told you to do. Because when you're playing basketball, things happen on the court that have nothing to do with the play. Just play basketball.
Not disagreeing with a syllable, but I want to use a different word if that's okay.
Sure.
I don't think at this point, and I think it's going to happen, I don't think they're being instinctively in what they're doing plastic. I think they're
You're saying the same thing. We're saying the same thing. They're not being instinctive. Like I said, they're robotic. They're robotics or stretches without playing basketball.
I'm sorry, Jonathan. I just wanted to use a word with more than one syllable to show you how smart I'm not.
That was impressive. That was very impressive, Alan. But you're right. They're not being instinctive, and you can see it. Like I said, when guys are throwing balloon passes, they're thinking about the three other things they got to do to make this play work. Forget the play, man. First, make a crisp pass, and then see what the defense is doing. That predicates your next move. If we do that, we're fine.
This is going to be difficult for some. And I've seen this in football. And I'm not being negative to anybody, but I am asking this as a question. There are times when I have covered Kentucky football, no matter who the coach was, this is not a thing against Stoops or Curry or anybody, it happens all the time, where it's not that the football players were stupid. And when I've done this kind of thing before, I was strong to point that out. But a football player, you're in the huddle. Young, the former offensive lineman for Kentucky, he was on the show one time, and I said, "Hey, tell me something what the quarterback says in a play." And he's going, "C95." I'm going, "What?" And you know, first of all, I don't know their playbook, but second of all, even if I did, I mean, it was like 6 or 7 things that the quarterback rattled out right away, and you cannot think. If you think and you think you could be an all-pro, you're screwed. You're screwed. And so at times, we've heard football coaches during my time in Lexington saying, we have to dummy it down, but that doesn't mean my guys are dummies. Please, 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 nobody take it that way, because I don't mean it and it's not true. And I wonder at times if Mark Stoops is so smart, if he's putting too much on his kids, that it's preventing them until they get to a certain learning point, and I don't think they're there yet. They don't play instinctively because they're thinking too much, because he's put too much in their heads. Does that make any sense to you?
It does. I'm going to agree with you, but I want to soften that a little bit.
Please.
He's going to be that. I don't think he's put too much on them. He's put a lot on them. I've been in practice. I've seen what they do, and their playbook is thick, buddy. It's a lot going on. There's a lot of movement that's scripted in what they do. Now, having said that, though, he brought in a bunch of really cerebral kids that can grasp this before the season's over. And I'm okay with taking our lumps early if it leads to the greater good. I still believe in the mission. I still believe that this team has enough from coaching staff all the way down to be cutting the nets down at the end of the season. So I'm going to reserve judgment that it was too much. If we look back and it's January and we're still making balloon passes, you know, and guys are still, their little wheels are turning about, okay, I cut this way and then I cut that way and then I said it. You can just see it on their faces. You can just see it. And the other team can see it too. That's why they run through passes. If we're still doing this in January, you got a problem. But like I said, we should be getting to a point now to where guys are playing more reflexively. I love what I saw last game. Obviously, the quality of the other team was not at the same level, but guys were playing relaxed. They were playing free. They were just making basketball plays, and that was fun. If we can just keep focusing on that, we're going to be okay.
You're in trouble because I agree with you 1,000%. So in other words, what I believe, it's too much to this point, but that doesn't mean it's too much for the season. And yes, I think they're struggling with it now, but It's called the light bulb. The light bulb. When the light bulb goes on, I think this team will be tons better. Tons better. I mean that sincerely. Tons better. Hang on, I got to throw this at you.
Go ahead.
Will Stein will have his press conference December 3rd, tomorrow at 4 p.m. inside the Nutter Fieldhouse. Wow. You have to submit credential requests. Interesting, which I will do in the commercial break. So I will obviously be there. Matter of fact, I can't remember the last time I went to a press conference. I don't go to press conferences. I mean, because it's online, but it's 4 o'clock. I have no excuse not to go, I think. So we shall see. Anyway, 4 o'clock tomorrow. So I'm with you. I really believe today it's too much for their heads, but for the season, it's not. And when the light bulb comes on, you know, I know we got to go in a minute, but I'm going to throw this at you, a little sarcasm. People are going to say, oh my gosh, the chemistry is so much better now. They're getting along so much better. Blah, 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 blah. It's superfluous. I don't think that has crap to do with this. I just think they're going to start playing instinctively and people say, oh, their chemistry is so much better. Oh, maybe they were fighting. Now they're not. All this kind of stuff. And a lot of it's going to be garbage because he's thrown so much at him. They're still figuring it out. And I believe they'll figure it out. I'm going to give Pope a compliment. I believe he wouldn't be throwing this at his kids, as you pointed out, who are smart. He doesn't recruit dummies. I'm not saying somebody else did. These kids are so smart. He understands it's a learning curve. He's really frustrated with the learning curve, which is normal, by the way. It's part of the process, as he says. And I don't know, January could be today. I doubt it. But at some point, it's going to click, and all of a sudden, you're going to see a damn good basketball team.
I agree, because like I said, the talent we have on this team, when kids stop thinking about it and start playing, we've seen flashes of it. We've seen flashes of it late, which is good. They didn't fold, you know. But when they all start clicking on the same page, it's going to be a lot of fun to watch. I'm waiting until January to see what it look like.
You know, we almost never disagree. Are you okay? I mean, this has been going on.
Are you okay? Because normally you bring me on the show and beat me up, you know. But this time, you know, we're.
You wait a second.
I leave here sweating and bleeding every time I'm on your show.
No. You are sandbagging. There've been about 2 of the last 3 times on you have destroyed me with one-liners. No denial. Which, by the way, I applaud you, and that's part of our friendship. Look, as my daughter said, I dish it out, but I can take it. And when it's fun, it's even better when you can take it. Give a great plug for your business, and thank you so much for adjusting your schedule.
Thank you so much, Alan. Again, my business is JT Davis Asset Management for all of your retirement services needs.
Bless you, brother. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
You need to borrow your glasses. Maybe it'll help my IQ. What do you think?
We'll give it a shot.
Hey, I'll see you Thursday night. Thank you for the invite.
Thanks, Alan. See you.
Talk to you. Jimmy, he's great. Do we ever talk where at some point in time we don't laugh?
No, I don't think that's ever. I don't even think there's not usually like even 2 minutes between the laughs.
He's such a special guy and amazingly successful. And when I say amazingly, I'm not surprised, but he's amazingly successful. And he's gracious about it and humble about it. And his analyzation of basketball is off the charts. Gene Abel coming up next. We started with Rich Brooks, who is wonderful. Now he's playing golf. No surprise there. Lizzie Carr, she was wonderful. Her description of pressure and how they handle it and how she's having the time of her life playing for Kentucky is just absolutely off the charts. To Debbie Stein, her son William, going to be the new head football coach. She was off the charts, bouncing off the walls. What a blessing. To Jonathan Davis. And now the pressure will be on after this break for Gene Abel to be good. You know, Gene always complains to me that the people in front of him are so good. Why does he follow these people? Well, Gene, I've done it to you again, and that's okay. It really is okay. And it'd be okay, actually much better than that, be smart if you consider Blue Lotus Health. Acupuncture. Ramon is a great dude. He's helped me tremendously. I'm lucky to have found him. I'm lucky to have found Terry Page. 859-533-0914. 859-533-0914. Now also providing a licensed massage therapist. Acupuncture. I was there yesterday. Beautiful, 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 beautiful how he's helped me. Your health is worth it. It's absolutely worth it. Use my name, Blue Lotus Health, on Versailles Road, Ramon Carriega, 859-533-0914. Gene Abel coming up next. Alan Cutler, 1300 AM, 92.5 FM.
No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler, brought to you by Quantrell Auto Group. QuantrellForLife.com.
Hi, this is Alan Cutler. Have a no filter comment? Hit the text line 859-381-1313. 859-381-1313.
Ho, ho, ho.
What are you doing, Uncle Rick?
Looking at these twinkle lots, 250 strands of lots, 100 individual balls per strand, for a grand total of 25,000 twinkle lots.
Well, it looks like you're not quite ready for the holidays yet, but here at Clark's Pep Shop, we are. We have M&M, Milk Flakes, Snickers, or Twix shader-sized candy bars, 2 for $4.50, or Uncle Rick potato chips, 8-ounce bags, 2 for $6.
Maybe I should wrap up my lots so I can get over to Clark's Pep Shop.
Uncle Rick, the little lights aren't blinking.
I know, Carl.
I know. Happy holidays from the Clark family.
Hi, this is Alan Cutler. The Quantrill Auto Group has a great deal for this month. Subaru. The Outback is special, so check this out. 0%. That's right, 0% interest for 36 months. And if you want to spread it out to 72 months, 1.9%. What a deal. 0% interest for 36 months. Don't forget, the Quattro family of dealerships is the right place to get your next Subaru, and they promise you the best in sales, service, and no gimmicks.
My name is Terry Schultz, CEO for the Rutherford County Area Habitat for Humanity. Republic Bank has really been a game changer. They have invested not only financially, but time to really listen so that we can move our mission forward. What I like about Republic Bank is they've come in asking, what are your needs? And I don't know that you get that any other place.
That's Terry's story. Now let's get to work on yours. Republic Bank. Time to thrive. Member FDIC.
Houchins Insurance Group is proud to partner with Auto Owners Insurance, a company that provides opportunity for independent agents to make insurance simple for their clients, offering risk management services that range from a renter's policy for your college student to home and auto coverage for your entire family. Houchins Insurance Group assures you that nobody works harder to keep you protected from life's uncertainties. Reach out to AJ Boss or Zach Bennett at 859-263-2771 to see if Auto Owners Insurance makes sense for you.
W223CV Lexington. ESPN Sports Radio 1392.5. WLXG Lexington and LM Communications Broadcasting Station. The only no-filter sports show in Kentucky. It's the Alan Cutler Show with award-winning TV sportscaster Alan Cutler.
You know, before you say it, Gene Abel, retired outstanding sports editor, Lexington Herald leader, I'm going to say it once again. I stacked you up, and it's a blessing you're joining us, but I got to bust your chops a little bit because Tino says, why did you put me after so-and-so? We go from Rich Brooks to Lizzie Cart, who, by the way, on most days would be like one of the guests of any week. She was unbelievable. To Debbie Stein, in any week she would be number one. To Jonathan Davis, his analysis of Kentucky basketball was great. And Doug Barnes, former UK assistant at 130. And
yeah,
now,
I guess next time you'll probably have me follow Coach Will down.
If I'm lucky enough that he does the show. How are you, Gene?
I'm doing well. There's not a whole lot going on right now, is there, Alan? Pretty slow time. Your show's more packed than Rubber Arena will be tonight.
I don't know about that, but it's packed in. I have pages of notes that I took that ain't getting on the show, and that's okay. It's okay. It's a beautiful thing. I don't know how much, or if you heard Debbie Stein at all, but I asked an obvious question, and I was really surprised by the answer. Because, come on, you've done this forever. Usually when you ask a question, you have an idea what the answer is going to be. But you get surprised sometimes. So, you know, if Debbie, 30 years ago, if I told you that your son would be the head coach of Kentucky, what would you think? She goes, yeah, I'm not surprised. I expected it. That's a paraphrase of what she said. What a beautiful answer.
Now, if you'd asked that 10 years ago, that would make sense. That meant he was 5 years old. Wow. That's amazing. That's unbelievable.
It really is. So let me throw this at you. And I said this to Debbie with respect. My opinion. What Will Stein, or as she calls him, William Stein, has done at Oregon is absolutely off the charts. There's no question about it. I'm more impressed what he did at USTA. I mean, he goes from high school after leaving Texas so he could call plays. And by the way, they also had him listed in high school as a recruiting coordinator, which I thought was very interesting.
I think I saw that. I guess they have a general manager pretty soon.
Yeah, I mean, it's Texas. I mean, I was in Texas, I don't know, it was over 20 years ago, and I was being told when I was down there that there were defensive and offensive coordinators who were making $150,000 a year in some of the big schools back then.
At high schools?
Yes, sir.
Ooh,
yes, sir. Well, have you seen some of these stadiums where you get 10, 12,000 people
per game? Yeah.
I drove by a few of them. And you look at these stadiums, I'm going, oh my gosh, this is bigger than small colleges in Kentucky. Not a shot against Kentucky, but there's so much money generated. And that was then. Lord knows what they're making now. Neither here nor there. I mean, people that know said you can't believe the money that's there. Point is, he goes to high school to call plays for 2 years. And then he goes from that to USTA. Okay, that's a huge jump. But what he did there, to me, is even better than what he did at Oregon. It's USTA. And boom, they're nationally ranked. nationally ranked in all categories. And then to go from there to Oregon? I mean, no disrespect, but if he went to Bowling Green or Toledo or something like, that he boomed to Oregon, which is unbelievable. And given the power that he was given is unbelievable. And so this kid has spent his whole life to be here.
I think that the debate over whether a guy is a great offensive coach should last about 30 seconds. I mean, unquestionably, he's proven on all levels what he can do on offense. He's one of the best offensive coordinators in the country, and so I've seen some things have him as the best offensive coordinator in the country. Also, it's interesting because I was looking back. I'm going to call it Kentucky's modern day history, which I'm going to go back to John Ray, which most people won't remember. But the Kroger Field, John Ray didn't coach in Kroger Field, but he's the one that got the momentum to build it. So if you go back then, I think Kentucky's had 10 coaches. If I'm not mistaken, Will is only the second one that came in with an offensive background. We know who the other one was, Mr. Mummy, and Hal Mummy is a great offensive mind. He's one of the greatest offensive minds in football that we've seen. The problem with Hal is to him, defense and special teams are like a virus. And whereas Will comes in from Oregon, I think that's what's part of the big thing here is this isn't a guy that's coming in. He knows what it's like to have a top 5 program. He knows what the culture is like. He knows what all sides of the ball need to be. They run the ball a lot too. They're not just, he doesn't just go in and wing it 50 times a game. They mix it up. But I think he's only the second coach Kentucky brought in that had an offensive background. I'm not saying that's the best or the worst way, because you do it anyway. I just found that interesting. I think the result of that, I think, is going to really even fire the fan base up more than a lot of the other hires have, because I don't know if that's the winning way for Kentucky in the SEC, but it's what people want right now, and they want a better offense. They want a more exciting game, and they want something. They want to see them score some points. And this guy can do that.
I find interesting. Sorry for stepping on it, Gene. And I say this with respect. First of all, it's a very interesting perspective. But neither one of us consider Bill Curry an offensive coach. He was a center.
Bill Curry. I don't want to spend much time on Bill Curry as a football coach, but I think he's a wonderful man. I couldn't tell you the identity of Bill Curry on offense, defense, or anything. I think he's a really good man. I think he's probably. But I never thought he was a great football coach. But he certainly wasn't an offensive coach.
Yes, interesting. But just to clarify it, just because he was a center, there's a perception that you're an offensive guy. And by the way, I didn't think Bill Curry was an offensive coach either. I always thought his big mistake was not bringing his 2 coordinators from Alabama who decided not to come, and I think it ruined his time here. And I don't want to spend more time on Bill Curry either. I like the man a lot. He's done the show. Wish him the best, all that kind of stuff. But I just was pointing it out. And, Gene, that's an really interesting perspective going back all that time to the lack of offense, which also tells you that CM Newton really was out of the box. And I still think had CM, I'm pausing on you, forced, and I think he could have and decided not to because he didn't want anybody to force him. I think if he forced Hal to hire a veteran, respected defensive coordinator, things here would have been totally different. By the way, this is not breaking news for me. I've always believed it, but he didn't want anybody shoving anything at him. And Hal, I love Hal. I think people know that. I'm going to ask Hal to come on the show next week, offense. Hal had no negotiating ploy. He had nothing. He's coming from a small school, and I think he could have done it. And I wonder if he regretted that. I don't know why I got on that tangent, but I'm just throwing it out there.
I'm not sure. You may be right. I'm not sure I buy that. First time I heard Hal speak, he's speaking to, I think it was a Rotary Club, and he got up and he started almost making fun of special teams. And I thought, does this guy understand how it works in the SEC? You can't do that. And if you looked on his roster, he would have like a guy who would be a first-team defensive back be the third-team receiver. He wanted to stack up the offense. It was very important to Hal and his reputation and his name to score points and to put numbers up on the board. I'm not being critical of him. I just think that's the way his mind works. That's what he wanted. And I'm not sure that CM maybe would have gone and said, you have to do this maybe, but I'm not sure that Hal still wouldn't be going on 4th down and 4 from his own 20.
The last part I agree with, by the way. Okay, let's throw this at you. As you know, I have been critical at times of Mitch Barnhart, and as you know, there are times I've complimented him. I've some people since inside UK think I only criticize, and that's fine. They can think of whatever the hell they want. As somebody said, it's my show, and I think you have to compliment him tremendously for getting this done quickly. And you have to compliment him. You have to compliment Mark Hill. You have to compliment Ray Rock Oliver. And, the administration let him do this quickly as well. So I think there are kudos to these three people. One, respond to that. And two, I'd love to know when this thing really started. I think the feelers of this have been out for quite some time. I believe this. Chip Rupp said it. I found out my own way. There were people who contacted UK First Nine saying, if anything ever happens, we would like to coach here someday. What that set off, I can't tell you. But you do not do a deal like this that quickly without some previous conversations.
On the first part regarding Mitch, I mean, I think I sent out a tweet this morning, and I've been critical of Mitch and had some confrontations with Mitch back in the day, but I applauded him for this hire. I think he should be, but also, if I was going to criticize him as you did and I did for that stupid contract they had, and if you're going to criticize him for that, you got to be willing to do the other thing. They did this quick. They did it right. It happened. I think they got the right guy. My guess, I would be shocked if there wasn't some contact in some form prior to this weekend. Maybe, I mean, we thought 3 weeks ago the Stoops thing was going to fall apart. Then or 4 weeks ago, then he had the win streak. I would be shocked if somewhere in there somebody didn't say, "Hey, if this ever happens, you want us to contact you?" And I would be surprised if it didn't happen. And it had to move this quick. Did they actually go to Columbus?
I don't know.
Because I think I was part of Will's mom on, didn't she say she got the call at 11:30 a.m. from him?
Yesterday, that it was the done deal.
Well, so I'm trying to think when did they go to Columbus, or did they? Because everybody was saying they were in Columbus early yesterday afternoon. I don't know, but anyway,
I can't confirm or deny that they were in Columbus at all. I really don't know. I also know this. I'm not taking a shot at anybody, but so many times stuff gets out there and it takes a life of its own. For example, I want to turn this into a Lane Kiffin thing. One of the things on Lane Kiffin that blew up on Twitter, and I know you saw it, said that he gave an ultimatum to his assistant coaches that if they didn't get on the plane, that they couldn't come coach at LSU. And it seems like no matter what he says, people think he's a liar. I'm not passing judgment, but he told Marty Smith, he said, I would never do that to anybody. And actually, I believe that. Who wants to work for you if you do that kind of thing? So there's a lot of misinformation out there. I don't know if they went to Columbus or not.
I don't know, but it certainly happened quick. It needed to happen quick because there's so much that's going to be going on immediately, and it's going to be tough for Will for a little while doing both jobs because there's a whole lot he's got to get done in the next couple of months. It's going to be really interesting to see who he hires. He's going to have to get. I mean, somebody's going to be running this portal show and talking to the players. I'm sure he'll do as much as he can, but he's got a busy job going on right now. They're playing for a national championship.
See, there's good and bad how I feel about this. A lot about him, other guys have done it, and I understand that, but that doesn't mean I liked him in the past. There's so many things he has to do here. Part of me, I really don't like that he's going to continue coaching at Oregon. The other thing is, if they play for the national championship and they're scoring 40 points a game, what are they averaging, 38 or 39 or something like that. But the point being, they're scoring a lot of points. Kentucky's going to get so much love on national TV. It's incredible. It's incredible. And that's great for Kentucky. But he's a first-time head coach. I'm going to assume he has a better idea of his staff than we know. I'm going to assume he's had private conversations with a lot of people, whether this thing at Kentucky came up or not, because the odds were he was going to get offered a job anyway in this cycle. And if not, it was an exercise. So I think he's got more in hand than I think people realize. And I also think there are people like Mark Hill and Ray Rock Oliver who will be helping him tremendously with contracts and phone calls and stuff like that. There's a support system behind him to help him tremendously, which will be invaluable to him. But it's a difficult thing. It's an absolutely difficult thing.
Yeah, and I certainly didn't mean that as a criticism that he is staying there. I understand that, and I think it will give them a lot of good publicity. It'll give him good publicity. I would think he has to get somebody on ground here pretty soon to be talking to the, who's going to stay, who's leaving, which ones are they, who's going to evaluate that, who's going to evaluate all the portal players. This is sort of off the record, but not off the record, but different. But did you see what Patino said yesterday about the tournament in football? I thought that was sort of fascinating.
Go ahead and say it.
You said, could you imagine if I were coaching the basketball team or anybody was coaching a basketball team and you got invited to the tournament and you said, well, no, I'm leaving now. I'm not going to coach in the tournament. You don't, I've never really thought about it that way, but that's not going to happen in basketball. Why does it happen in football? And part of it's probably tied into the portal and also so much more money in football. Everybody's moving so quicker, but it is interesting. Is there ever been a case where a basketball coach got in the tournament and quit before they got in the tournament?
Well, Steve Fisher, remember what happened with that with Michigan?
Yes.
Was told he couldn't coach because the AD wanted the Michigan man.
Right.
One, is a good point. Two, football is different. And with all the crap Kiffin is taking, I happen to agree with Saban. This is not Kiffin's fault. If you ask LSU to wait till after the season is over and maybe they play for the national championship, LSU is going to say next. And so I don't think Kiffin had a choice. Well, he had a choice. He could have stayed at Ole Miss. And I actually believe Kiffin when he said it was a tough choice. And people are saying, woe is me. And I heard John Summerall's press conference yesterday where he said it was a tough choice for him as well. And by the way, Kiffin, they told Summerall that Florida was a place for him. Let me throw one more at you as you're throwing it out there. I don't know specifics. I know exactly what I heard from John Summerall. He said, Florida picked us, but we picked Florida. He said, we had other choices, plural. I'm going to guess. I do not know. I'm going to guess. And I'm not saying he was offered the job because I don't think he was, by the way. I don't think he was. I think Mitch doesn't offer a job until, they have their guy and it's pretty obvious and stuff like that. I think he's very conservative that way. I'm not being negative at all. I think that's Mitch's style. I think it's pretty obvious, neither here nor there. I'm going to guess that Summerall would rather be at Florida than here because I think he thinks he's got a better chance of winning.
I can understand that if it's true. I don't know the answer to that. I would assume that Auburn was one of the teams that was certainly courting him. But I don't. That's a hard one to answer. I don't know.
Okay, just
I did think the Kiffin. It was fun, and a lot of the stuff about Kiffin, I did not think was Kiffin's fault. I don't think I don't think Ole Miss should have let him stay there because he could have spent a month recruiting his players to come to LSU or his staff. But as far as all the people I got very sick of it. Everybody got sick of it. But that part wasn't Kiffin's fault. I mean, Summerall's situation wasn't handled a whole lot different than Kiffin. He just didn't get the attention because it wasn't Kiffin and it wasn't an SEC school. I mean, he had several schools courting him, and he waited until the end, and then he had to make a decision. But anyway, go ahead.
No, I agree with that. I think good point. Let me interrupt for a second. The press conference tomorrow at 4 p.m., we will carry it live right here on 1300 AM and 92.5 FM. My thing, I don't want to make this a Kiffin thing, but I think he takes a lot of crap that's not justified. I think he's changed. I think he's grown. Do I think he's perfect? No. But some of the people have a vengeance against him that's just absolutely incredible. And by the way, he wanted to coach a team, fine. Guess what? Keith Carter said no. He's the AD. I respect his decision. And you know what? He might have had 12 more players go with him from Ole Miss to, you're absolutely right, to LSU. Oh, coach, I want to be with you and stuff. I don't blame Keith Carter. No, it's his choice. I respect it tremendously. But some of the people who have ripped him, Chris Cameron, who I like tremendously, former SID at Kentucky, were just ripping Kiffin like crazy. Well, you want to have his cake and eat it too. Well, that's what negotiations are. Coaches ask for things all the time in a contract. Sometimes they get it, sometimes they don't. I don't blame him for asking, and I don't blame Ole Miss for saying no. I don't blame him at all, because if they would have poached more of the players or deemed that more players left Ole Miss for LSU because he coached the team, you know what? Keith Carter would have gotten destroyed, and he would have deserved it.
I couldn't blame Keith Carter if he'd have gone to Kiffin 2 weeks before and said, we can't wait 2 weeks. You need to make a decision. I mean, that's what you do. You go back and forth and you figure out in the end. But Kiffin was getting so much of attention because of the nature of Kiffin, his personality, being the SEC, the schools involved. But anyway, I'm glad that's over.
I got you. Last one, and I'm going to switch. Here's why I disagree with you. And I've said this before. Keith Carter had no power. You can't go to a guy who's got a long contract, make a decision now or forget it. What are you going to do, fire him?
I'm not saying he should have. I'm saying he would have had that right to do that.
Really?
If he wanted to do it.
Well, and suppose he says, bleep you, I got a contract.
Well, I think he could. I think he could have gone to Kiffin a week early. I'm not saying I would have done it or he should have done it. He had to go to him and say, "This has to stop. You need to make your mind up by such and such time."
Okay, I'm good with it. We got off on a tangent. Two quickies. One, the second one will be about UK basketball tonight, believe it or not. But the first one, anything else about this football situation that you feel strongly against, pro or con, whatever?
No, I don't think anything we didn't cover. I really think because of his background, and he's from Kentucky, and he comes from a proven program. It's really, this fan base is ready to be rejuvenated, and this will do it. I think it's a really good hire in that sense. Now, the next big, I want to see who his defensive coordinator is going to be. That's huge, because he's not going to win just with offense in the SEC, but he knows that.
Well, the other thing is, here's what I don't know, and I'm fascinated to find out. Is he going to call the plays?
Yeah, I'm really I agree with you on that one.
I'm going to add one more to the list. Drinkwitz just put this out there. Jeff Drummond, our friend, just reposted. Said Mark Stoops is a great man and a terrific football coach and leader. He's well respected by his peers, players, and colleagues. He left Kentucky football better than he found it. All the best as you begin your new chapter. Pope said on his coach's show the other day that he thinks Stoops wants to live here. And some idiot sarcastically said, well, you know what? He's not a Kentuckian. He wanted to go to A&M, which he did. But things sometimes don't work out, but that doesn't mean you don't love this place. I can't stand some of this crap on Twitter. There's no question he had his foot out the door, but that doesn't mean he doesn't love Kentucky. And suppose he becomes a coach and keeps his house here. He's got a lot of friends here. Mark Stoops has a lot of friends here. And so many of his football players have come out and said that they love him and stuff like that, which I think is wonderful. Your comment.
And I do look forward to the day, and it will happen, when Mark Stoops will be introduced at the game one time, and he'll get a rousing ovation. I mean, people didn't like Joe B. Hall when he left. We know how they felt about Rick Pitino when all that happened. And Mark Stoops deserves that, and he deserves the credit for everything he's done here. But it also was time, and that was very evident Saturday.
Got a quick comment about, I can't believe this. I'm saying quick comment about
Kentucky, North Carolina playing basketball. I think that we're going to find out this week if this team, as its roster sits right now, is ready to be a legitimate contender. And I think that is a legitimate question, whether the way this roster is constructed, and we don't have time for all that right now, but I think we'll get an idea this week if it's constructed to be able to compete, to go deep into a tournament. And if they go out this week and get spanked twice, I think that's a very legitimate question that we need to ask ourselves.
I think it is. Scale of 1 to 10. We'll find out in the future. Give me your number you have for Will Stein being named the football coach at Kentucky.
I'm going to say a 9, but that is based on, which is part of the hiring process, which is a very important part, is the enthusiasm it creates. And I think this is going to create a whole lot of enthusiasm, and at a time that is really needed for that fan base.
Yes, it is. Press conference live tomorrow at 4:00 right here on 1300 AM, 92.5 FM. Gene, I did it to you again. Bless you, brother. I appreciate your time.
Yeah, I'll be on before Will or after Will next time. Take care, my friend.
Thank you. Hey, I hope you're right. See you, Gene. Gene Abel, always strong opinions. I like Gene for a lot of reasons, but one We have actually, as we've found out, more in common. He's ripped Mitch, but he compliments Mitch. And there's too many people think, oh, you're either for him or against him. I'm neither. I'm not for Mitch. I'm not against Mitch. In other words, it's not personal. When you do something good, my opinion, you can agree or disagree, and I'm good with that. If it's good, it's good. If it's bad, it's bad. And there's a lot of things I've been very critical of Mitch, and I'm not taking any of it back. But you have to compliment him tremendously. And even if, people underneath him pushed him, which I don't know if they did or didn't, by the way, have no idea. I wouldn't care, and I'll tell you why. Because he's the boss. He's the boss. The buck stops with him. So I give him credit. And if he pushed the whole thing, he's the boss. You give him credit. So credit to Mitch, Mark Hill, Ray Rock Oliver, as I'm told from one of my deep throats, and the administration for saying, go do this quickly. This is your decision. And in the note and release that came out, Capilouto said it was Mitch's decision. He supported it. And I don't think it was worded that way by accident. I don't. Good stuff. So we've gone from Rich Brooks to Lizzie Carr. Rich was great. Lizzie Carr was great. Debbie Stein, Will's mom, was great. Jonathan Davis's analysis of basketball is great. Gene Abel is always big time no filter. And coming up next, former UK assistant basketball coach, Doug Barnes. Jimmy, has this been a show or has this been a show?
It's been a whirlwind of a show. A little bit of everything.
Yeah. Potpourri. Let's put it this way. On another date, I could have talked to Lizzie for 40 minutes. Seriously. What a wonderful young lady with a mental attitude that is so good, it's off the charts. Plus, she's a great volleyball player and loves it here. I mean, all-stars. Thank you for listening, and thank you for everyone who joins the Alan Cutler Show. Alan Cutler, Doug Barnes, coming up next, 1300 AM, 92.5 FM.
No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler, brought to you by Quantrell Auto Group. QuantrellForLife.com.
Hi, this is Alan Cutler. Have a no filter comment. Interest for 36 months. And if you want to spread it out to 72 months, 1.9%. What a deal. 0% interest for 36 months. Don't forget, the Quattro family of dealerships is the right place to get your next Subaru, and they promise you the best in sales, service, and no gimmicks.
Kathy Binkaman, over the holiday, there was an attempted fraud attack. My personal banker, Mary Rose, and I networked together. And the first thing that I thought of was I have to text her. And it was just within the next few minutes, there was an entire team that came together collectively. And that's just not the type of service that you typically get from your bank.
That's Kathy's story. Now let's get to work on yours. Republic Bank. Time to thrive. Member FDIC.
Ho, ho, ho.
What are you doing, Uncle Ray?
I'm looking at these twinkle lots, 250 strands of lots, 100 individual balls per strand, for a grand total of 25,000 twinkle lots.
It looks like you're not quite ready for the holidays yet. Here at Clark's Pop and Shop, we are. We have 5-hour energy shots, buy 2, get 1 free, and Mike and Ike or Hot Tamales Theater Box Candy, 2 for $2.
Maybe I should wrap up my lots so I can get over to Clark's Pop and Shop.
Uncle Ray, the little lights aren't blinking.
I know, Carl. I know.
Happy holidays from the Clark family.
Back to No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler. Podcasts on Apple, Spotify, and Google, Monday through Friday.
Welcome back. Alan Cutler, 1300 AM, 92.5 FM. This is a podcast hopefully many of you will pick up. It'll be up about 2:30. Easiest way, first of all, anywhere you get podcasts, basically, but the ESPN Sports Lexington app, from Rich Brooks to Lizzie Carr to Will Stein's mother. And Debbie was great. And she said she'd come back. And I still can't believe she remembers me when she was at UK, which was lovely. It was a long time ago. And Gene Abel and Jonathan Davis. And now, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, dear old friend, I guess we know each other longer than we care to admit, former UK assistant basketball coach, Doug Barnes. Doug, how are you?
Well, I'm doing great, but I would say y'all have had a busy day today.
It's been FUN, 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 fun. How do you look at tonight's game? And let me throw a couple things at you, then I'm going to shut up and you go. I believe this team is hesitating. I believe smart Mark Pope has thrown so much stuff at these kids. They are still hesitating. I think at a certain point, I expect and hope the light bulb will go on and they'll be much better. I don't think they're playing instinctively yet. And when that happens, because they're still assimilating information instead of just doing, this will be a much, much better basketball team, whether it starts tonight or it happens in January or it happens in increments. I don't know. But I think that's one of the issues that's going on. And I think Pope knows what's going on, and he's struggling with it and waiting for the light bulb to go on. You see any merit to all that?
Well, yes. At the same time, you just got so many new pieces to the puzzle. And I see a little bit of what you're talking about, but I also see a little bit of trying to figure out the best combinations. Because, there's just a number of people that are playing and figuring out, which combination is the best and needs to play the most. And honestly, that's what the November and December games are for and stuff, really. However, this day and time, you may, instead of used to, you had maybe 3 or 4 new players that you were blending in, and now it's just kind of the opposite and stuff. So I think it's a combination of that, and then trying to figure out the best combinations and having them have some experience of playing together and stuff, which again can cause you to kind of hesitate and think a little bit too much, like you say.
So short-term loss for long-term gain. Is that fair?
Well, I don't understand.
In other words, okay, when you're throwing in, and the analogy that I used, like football coaches, and I say this with respect, and I have to be careful. It's not the football players were stupid. Please, please, please. And I used to explain it on TV. You would hear a football coach, and Doug Barnes, former UK assistant, I'm purposely getting away from basketball, where they say we're simplifying it because we just want guys to react. It's not that they're dumb. It's you don't want their thinking. And when you get to the point where you're not thinking, you can use your instincts. Chandler, in a soundbite that I don't think we're going to have time to play, talked about one of the reasons why he's shooting so well is because he's not thinking about anything. He says, when I think, I hesitate. He said, I'm trusting myself, and just when it's a shot, I just shoot. I don't think about it. And I think these kids have been given so much stuff that it's not natural yet. And when it becomes instinctive and they stop thinking, I think this is going to be a much better basketball team.
Well, Alan, basically in basketball, you're right. You can definitely, in football and I guess other sports, you can overthink them. And usually that happens with people with a little experience, usually. And so and when you start thinking, you don't react as quickly as you should have, and you don't shoot it with the confidence that you need to shoot it with and stuff. But I'm hoping, and I think kind of what you're saying, I think with time, all that will settle in. And then, and of course, getting everybody healthy will make a difference too.
I'm glad you mentioned health. One of the things, and I think we talked about it, but I don't remember, but I've mentioned this many times, that when Ortega came back, I said many times, you got to give the kid at least a month, because I don't care how strong he is. I don't care if his body fat is 0. If you don't run, you don't run. He couldn't run, and you're not in basketball shape. And that month, to me, kind of ended the Michigan State game, which he still didn't play well. And he admitted yesterday that he was saying, this is not a negative towards him at all. It's kind of natural. Athletes don't like to admit they're not 100%. That he said he was fine before, but he wasn't, and now he says he's fine. So I'm expecting more of an uptick in his play, and I think the kid took too much crap for not playing well because he wasn't in shape, maybe didn't have a confidence. from the injury, whatever. But I would think he's going to start to blossom now, and that will help everybody else out, I think, tremendously.
Well, hopefully, because he's a big key with the experience that he has and playing the big games. And, he's just one of those players, Alan, to quote Lou Holtz, that said to Coach Sutton, find a player that's hard to guard. He told him his business recruiting was easy. You just got to find kids that's hard to guard. But let's face it, when he is healthy and he is very hard to guard, and especially in tough situations. So I think the Cats really need that type of competitiveness and that type of confidence in scoring.
Have you seen North Carolina?
I have, and kind of got some good news, Alan, and some bad news.
Okay, give me the good first, but give me both.
Well, the good news is they're just not overall as good as shooters as what you normally consider for North Carolina. Normally they have a number of really good shooters, especially the threes. And of course, the Seth Trimble, the one guard that is supposedly a really great shooter. He's only played in 2 games because he's been out and probably will not play tonight, they're saying and stuff. But the bad news for the Cats is they're much better in the inside. They start a 7-foot center, 2 6'10" forwards, and the one of those 6'10" forwards is, of course, the Caleb Wilson, who is just kind of all around one of the best freshmen in the country. So, and then their small guard is 6'6", and then they're just big across the line, and consequently they'll be very physical on the boards, which has not been for the strength of the Cats in these opening games.
Confidence-wise or feel-wise, do you see Kentucky winning, and how much, obviously, does it help at Rupp? Do you think they've improved enough to take on a North Carolina who also couldn't beat Michigan State?
Well, I guess we all figured out Michigan State's pretty good, right? but the bottom line is, I think they're doing kind of the same things as the Cats. They're kind of up and down and lose. That's really their point guard that's out too and stuff too. So I see it as really a good matchup. But I really kind of give the edge to the Cats, mainly because of being at home and coming off a feel-good win, and I just think with time they're going to get better, and I think tonight they'll meet the challenge and stuff. But it'll be a challenge, they got beat by Michigan State about the same, but at the same time, I'm trying to think. I think they beat Kansas. They beat Kansas, and Kansas has kind of been up and down too. But I just think the Cats, hopefully, they respond to playing at home and can, again, one of the keys is matching the physical play of that inside game, because they're very physical and very talented at scoring and on the inside.
Anything else about tonight's game that you feel?
Well, again, I think it's important for the Cats to keep up their defensive effort. I thought their effort, has been better in the last couple of games. They've been getting after it better. It just seemed like, the Louisville game, Michigan State game, that they just weren't aggressive enough. And I think, I think that's the area that they've got to pick up and just be more physical defensively and aggressive defensively. And if you don't, a couple of these players in North Carolina, they can get 25 or 30 points on you if you don't watch it. So hopefully that's the area that they'll improve, and I think it'll make a difference in the results.
Doug Barnes, former UK assistant, please give a great plug for your business, Papa-Lock.
Well, if you need a locksmith for anything, for your home, for your business, and for your cars, just give Papa-Lock a call at 253-OPEN in Lexington. and it's 775 open, which is 6736 in Louisville and Southern Indiana. And hopefully, if you're in emergency, you can remember those numbers and you don't go to Google because you can get in trouble there. Okay.
Thank you, Doug. I appreciate it, and you've been a great friend forever. Thank you so much.
Well, let's hope this is Alan. This is one of those big games, you know.
And they need to win. Doug Barnes,
Yep,
thank you,
got
Pally.
it. All right, thank you.
See ya. Okay, we got about 4 minutes
Right.
left. I want to play this. I went up and back with Jeff Bedett, who's done the show, and as he sent back to me, I have no reason to lie. Jeff Bedett is a huge fan of Mark Stoops, loves his ex-teammates. I have no reason not to believe him. That's what I told him that. And he basically, when he was on here, kind of took a shot at the wideout coaches, saying he learned so much when he left here and in training camp and all kinds of things like that he didn't learn here. And so Jeff said that he went to Vince Morrow and said the offensive coaches need to do a better job. Then he says that Vince Morrow, who answered him back on Twitter and said it was not true. That's what Vince said. Got to be fair to both sides. And then when I was texting up and back with Jeff, Jeff said, I have no reason to lie. None at all. So he took a strong shot against Vince, and he believes that Vince Morrow hurt him and Garrett Juice Johnson from playing in the NFL with some of the bad things he says that Vince said about him. Listen carefully.
After that meeting, Coach Merrill brought me, Juice, and me over LT. He said, I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure you guys can play a down in the NFL. That's what Coach said. Make sure, like, I'm going to do everything in my power that you guys gonna play a down in the NFL. Wow. Was me getting walked out that room. I looked at Garrett, I said, bro, I gotta transfer.
Yeah.
I said, bro, I got to transfer because he's gonna mess us up. And then ultimately it became that.
It's crazy.
When I went to the Eastland Shrine game, I'm talking to all the NFL scouts. Every single last one of them was just like, I heard you was a bad teammate. I heard you was a cancer in the locker room. I heard you can't be trustworthy. And I'm saying things like, man, who told you that? I was the captain. Man. Coach Stu laid me as the captain going out for the good talk.
There you have it. Jeff Bedett, as he said to me, I have no reason to lie. Vince said it's not true. And I believe Jeff has no reason to lie. Something happened. I'm not passing judgment, but I think it's fair to say in my dealings with Jeff, he's been very straight up. I think he's a good dude, by the way. And by the way, he loves his teammates and loved Kentucky. He really did. And he also told me he made a deal with himself that he would never put this out. He would never put this out as long as Stoops was here because he didn't want to cast a bad light on Stoops. Jimmy, I found this very interesting. It's pretty strong stuff, isn't it?
Very strong. And I do respect him for not. That also makes me think that Bedett's telling the truth, that he's waited, Stoops is gone, and he has this story. It's like, why would the player lie? This many years in the future, why would he lie about that?
We started with Rich Brooks, who said, as much as he likes Stein, that the NIL money needs to be there. And Rich is tremendously complimentary of Stein and his future and what he could do as an offensive guy, obviously rooting for him tremendously. And Stein is 36, and Brooks was 36 when he got the Oregon job. And Lanning was 36 when he got now the Oregon coaching job. So that was really good. Lizzie Carr was spectacular and how she's having such a spectacular time as Kentucky gets ready to play in the NCAA tournament Thursday night. I hope it's packed. I hope it's loud, and how much she loves it here and her definition of pressure and how she handles pressure, and she loves pressure. And these group of young ladies is absolutely off the charts. What a wonderful 15 minutes. And then Debbie Stein, and I still can't believe she remembered me from back in the day when she went to UK, was wonderful on her son. I mean, just absolutely wonderful. And you will learn things from what she said that you couldn't have learned anyplace else up to this point in time. That if you would have asked her 30 years ago if her son would be the coach of Kentucky, and I figured she'd say no way or something like that, she goes, no, I wouldn't be surprised. And she was just great, absolutely great. Jonathan Davis on his analysis of Kentucky, always special, always special. Gene Abel, no filter, always special. Doug Barnes, you just heard. And end with this. Congratulations to Mitch Barnhart. If you're Rip, you got a compliment. I'm really straight up. Congratulations to Mitch, Mark Hill, Ray Rock Oliver. They got this done quickly, and UK letting it happen. Press conference is tomorrow at 4 p.m. We will carry it live right here on 1300 AM and 92.5 FM. Thank you for listening. Jimmy, thank you. You all have a great day, and this is fun. This is fun, and I'm really hoping Will Stein calls his own plays. But that's me, Alan Cutler, and I can't wait to see who his D coordinator is. And I bet he's got a bunch of his staff already kind of put together. We'll see. Alan Cutler and Brad White to Florida as expected. Alan Cutler.